What's happening, YouTube family? It is your boy B New coming right at you. Just want to start off the video today just saying happy birthday to LeBron James. Happy belated birthday. As we all know, LeBron James did celebrate his 36th birthday yesterday and became the first player in NBA history to have 1,000 straight games with double-digit points. So big props to LBJ. Mad shouts out to him for being the first player. He's always extending records every time we look up. It was in the second quarter when he hit that shot that made that milestone, and that's going to be something that's very difficult to match. He already owns the longest streak in NBA history, surpassing Michael Jordan, of course, who has 866 games. So every time LeBron James steps on the floor, he's just going to continue to extend that streak, and I don't see anybody ever coming close to that. LeBron, of course, last year averaged 25 points a game, which was 12th in the NBA, I want to say. Was not quite in the top 10, but to be, 35 years old in your 17th season, I would say is still a hell of an accomplishment, especially since you led the league in assists, because that more than makes up for it. Of course, Anthony Davis, this is an interesting stat, I don't know if you all know, but for the first time, LeBron James, a teammate other than LeBron James on his team led the team in scoring, which all we know was Anthony Davis. So Anthony Davis averaged 26 last year, while LeBron averaged 25. So Anthony Davis did average a whole point more than LeBron, because we all know Anthony Davis is carrying LeBron, of course. But anyway, now it did take up to 17 years for LeBron not to be the leading scorer on his team, but all those years, LeBron was not only the leading scorer on his team, he was also the leading assist man on the team. So even though he wasn't playing point guard, even though he did last year and led the league in assists last year, he was not point guards in previous years, but still managed to lead his team in assists every single time for 17 years. So another great accomplishment for LeBron James. Now, while his team's scoring streak was snapped, he did extend another remarkable streak as he averaged 25 points a game. So as I mentioned, 25 points a game last year for not just double digits, but to average 25 points a game for that many years in a row. After averaging 20 points as a rookie, he has never averaged. Now think about this. He came in as a rookie and he averaged 21 points a game. Then after that, he has averaged 25 points a game for the rest of his career. So that is the longest streak in league history. And it's not just the longest streak in league history by a little bit. It is the strongest streak in league history by a wide margin. The next closest player is, of course, Hall of Famer Karl Malone. And let's not forget MJ. Shouts out to MJ. I'm not a hater. We got love for you too, MJ. So, MJ did it for 11 straight seasons. So before anybody starts saying, well, if MJ wouldn't have, listen, coulda, woulda, shoulda, if was a fifth, we all be drunk as hell, but we not. So think about it. Jordan, you did it for 11 seasons, but I want to say you played 15 years. So that streak will never be broken. Karl Malone did it for 11 straight seasons. So, now, we all know LeBron James is just not the pure scorer that Michael Jordan was. I mean, LeBron James does it all. I mean, he rebounds, assists. Scottie Pippen did all the heavy lifting for Michael Jordan on that team. Jordan was a scorer, and he took a lot more shots per game than what LeBron James takes. But LeBron James, of course, as we know, makes up for more in his playmaking skills and his ability to get others involved. So to me, there's no indication that double-digit scoring streak will end anytime soon. The only question is, how far can he push it, and how long will it take for anybody to have a realistic chance at challenging LeBron James? So what I want you to do, anybody, put in the comments below, how long do you think that LeBron James, I mean, we know he getting long in the tooth, so I encourage everybody to just enjoy his career. Stop hating on the man. So in the comments, for y'all haters too, for the fans of the page, for the fans of LeBron James, and for any of the subscribers, in the comments below, put how long you think LeBron James can continue the streak of scoring 25 points a game in this league. Of course, That being so, he had 26 last night going against the San Antonio Spurs. But just make sure that you know that nobody since 1983 or 84, there's only been 9 streaks of at least 300 straight double-digit performance, and that includes 2 active streaks, and that's LeBron James, who got the thou wow. LeBron James got the thou wow. But I just wonder, who is the next closest person? Who is the next closest person to LeBron James in that many games? It's James Harden. For those of you who didn't know, it's James Harden. And that's 411 games. Check out the graphic. It's James Harden. But nonetheless, back to last night's game. Let me focus in on that for a bit now that we talked about the celebration of LeBron's birthday. Let's kind of jump into what he did. So from the onslaught of the game, I watched the game in its entirety, and the Lakers never had a problem with the Spurs whatsoever. Of course, the Spurs, as always, is a well-coached team as usual, and they came out looking good. Rudy Gay was looking nice. DeMar DeRozan was looking nice, but every time the Lakers just went up by double digits, I want to say in the second quarter, and the Spurs could just never really get back into the game. Every time they made a run, it just seems like that the Lakers had an answer for it and made a run of their own. So that was pretty much summing up the game. But what I did notice in the game, and I don't know if a lot of you know this, but Gregg Popovich got so heated with the ref. I think it was Tony Brown. It was about maybe 3 or 4 minutes left in the second quarter. I mean, Popovich went ham. DeMar DeRozan was going up for a shot. I mean, he might have got fouled. I mean, I think he was a little bit frustrated. DeMar DeRozan had made a couple of really nice plays before that. But nonetheless, and who knows, it might have been a setup for Popovich to do the following. But I don't know, because the fans in the crowd were cheering after he got his second technical, which is unlike, San Antonio Spurs fans to do. But as we all know, there aren't really fans at the game right now. So it was pretty much friends and family members. And the family members that were cheering, they were cheering for the first female head coach who was able to coach in the game tonight. So, as we all know, the San Antonio Spurs has a female head coach, and she was able to step into the game and just pretty much just take over where Popovich left off and did good. She did a really great job rallying the players. I'm sorry that her name is just eluding me right now. I just really apologize for that, but she did a really great job, and obviously she earned her respect in this league. So to me, I don't really think it's a question of can a woman coach in the NBA. Of course she can. In the WNBA as well, you have male coaches, so I don't really think it's a gender thing. So I'm glad that the NBA always is in the front, in the forefront of being able to have race equality, gender equality, and just equality for everybody. So big shouts out to the association for continuing to do that, and my apologies once again for not remembering her name. I know her face so well, and I remember when he first hired her on as the first female assistant, I want to say last year or the year before, but nonetheless, they did not win. DeMar DeRozan did say after the game he wished that they could have brought home a victory for her, having been the first female to be a head coach in an NBA game. But obviously they could not get it done because they were going against LeBron James. And LeBron James said, after the game when they asked him about it, he said, she's been paying her dues over the last years, and Coach Pop gave her the opportunity. He said it's just a beautiful thing to hear her out there barking out calls. She's so passionate about the game, So, big shouts out to them. But kind of want to focus in on the crosstown rivals because, Skip Bayless and a lot of people going to have a lot of things to say. So I want to focus in on the crosstown rivals, the Los Angeles Clippers. And I must say, Kawhi Leonard, after getting his mouth bust wide open the other night and bleeding all over the floor by fellow teammate Serge Ibaka, was looking pretty nice tonight in his return. He donned a mask. It was a different looking mask, but he had to protect his mouth from getting his mouth bust up the other night. So he came back and he scored 28 points in his return from being out for the past 2 games. PG-13, Paul George, George Paul, or however you want to call him, he poured in, I want to say, 23 points. And the Clippers look pretty good, I must say. And for them to be going against the same team that actually just beat the Lakers the other night is a testament to how they can bounce back as a coaching staff. I think Ty Lue got the Clippers looking good. So, I mean, it's still early on in the season, so a lot of positioning have to be made for seeding and all that. But I must say that the Clippers are looking very respectable with Kawhi Leonard, and if Paul George can keep up his play, then I would expect for the Clippers to probably, be right up there at the top, 1, 2, 3 in the West. So just look out for the Clippers. But who I really, really want to focus on is CJ McCollum. CJ McCollum is looking really nice. I noticed that the other night against the Lakers. So CJ McCollum and Dame Lillard for the Blazers, even though they lost tonight, I think they just kind of got behind, and I think a lot of things played into that because, just with COVID, it's just a different game, and I forgot to mention too, Caruso is still out due to COVID or having came in contact with somebody who had COVID. So the Lakers were shorthanded with Caruso tonight as well, but they still didn't miss a beat. But getting back to my point on the Trailblazers, them having to fly in from Portland into LA. LA is bad right now with the COVID, y'all. And, I was just out in LA not too long ago, but I tried to remain safe. But LA alone had over 500 deaths in one day last week, over 100 deaths the day before. So it's hundreds of people dying every day in LA due to COVID. So everybody be as safe as you can, and just try not to spread anything. But anyway, I said all that to say this: when the Trailblazers arrived there, they were pretty much confined to their hotel room. So even their practices was thrown off a little bit, and them being able to just get into a routine. And I'm not making any excuses for the Portland Trailblazers at all. I'm just trying to, give an insight into the game that a lot of times a lot of people don't think about. You just see them playing the games, but you don't think about the travel that's involved, the checking into the hotels, being comfortable, team dinners, the practices, everything that it takes for an organization to be able to prepare for an NBA game, just a typical night in the association. Now, I did want to focus back in on another team that I really think is really going to be the team to beat coming out of the East. I know it's early on, and I know I talk a lot of trash about Kevin. But mainly, I don't want to come across as a hater to Kevin Durant, because much respect to him. He's a hell of a player, and I'm looking forward to them winning the East, and I'm looking forward to him taking on LeBron James in the finals. Because one thing I know is LeBron James is not going to back down from that challenge. And if it's a healthy LeBron and AD, then I'll take LeBron and AD over a healthy Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant. But I think it would be a hell of a series. That would be a hell of a series. One thing I did want to point out in the game with Portland when they lost to the Clippers last night is they were without Gary Trent Jr., who had got the right calf strain, so he was out that night. And Gary Trent Jr. went ham the other night on the Lakers and was a big reason for their win. He was real hot the other night. He sunk probably about 5 or 6 threes. But so anyway, back over to the Brooklyn Nets. Like I said, they was looking really good. I was kind of flipping back and forth through the game. I did check out Kyrie, and to be honest, I was like, man, Kyrie is not looking too good. I mean, but Kyrie only, I want to say, had 7 or 8 points through the first 3 quarters. So it took him like to the fourth quarter to start warming up. But next thing you know, he hit about 16 or 17 in the fourth. It was a hell of a game. I'm telling you, Atlanta Hawks, that was their first loss of the season. The trades and the pickups they made, they looking real good. Such a young team. Trae Young is doing his thing. So, the score was 145-141. So, it had to be a hell of a game. A lot of scoring, a lot of back and forth in the game. So, even after the game, Steve Nash, they said Steve Nash said he needed a beer. Steve Nash said, man, that was a hell of a game. I needed a beer. So I thought that was hilarious when I saw that. But Trae Young, shouts out to him. He had a hell of a game. He had 30 points, 11 assists, 6 rebounds. John Collins had 30 points and 10 rebounds, but it just wasn't enough for the Atlanta Hawks to beat the Nets tonight, because the Nets are looking good. And I will say, at the end of the game, when the game was really close, Kyrie pulled through. He put a couple of defenders on ice skates. He pulled up with a nice little fadeaway jumper right there in the paint to seal the game. And then at the end, a couple of fouls on Kevin Durant just to ice the game. Of course, you know he's not gonna really go to the line to miss any free throws. But I will. Bojan Bogdanovic made 6 3-pointers and scored 22 points. And Cam Reddish also had 20 points. So that young Hawks team, he is looking good. Brooklyn did have 7 players in double figures, with Joe Harris adding 23 points. Now, the Hawks, I want to say Gallinari didn't play, or he came in for a minute, but he was still hurt, so he went back out. So as the Hawks get fully healthy, I think it's going to be interesting to see what they can do in the East with this newly assembled team that they have, especially with Trae Young coming together, looking like a little young Steph Curry. So that'll be very interesting to see. But I do think it's going to be the Lakers and the Brooklyn Nets on the collision course for the NBA Finals. LeBron against Kevin Durant is what we all want to see. So put in the comments who you think going to make it to the finals. If you think it'll be LeBron against KD, and of course, who do you think will win? And as always, this is your boy B New. I'm saying right on to the real, and much love to y'all haters. I'm out.